Welcome to Firescape Services. We provide inspections and certifications, repairs, and load tests to remove violations in your area and nationwide. So whether you're an inspector or whether you're somebody, you have your own home, you have your own building, the first thing is the law is very clear. It must be structurally sound and must be kept painted. So is the firescape painted or is it not painted? And does it have more paint than rust or more rust than paint? So I can just look at this firescape and say that I have evidence right now that there's more rust than paint on this firescape. So immediately, if you were to call an inspector out here, the law doesn't allow him to pass this firescape simply because it has more rust than paint. And structural means that if the firescape is 50 to 75 years old, when any inspector is looking at it, he's got to see some evidence of maintenance. And maintenance means that I have to see a change in bolts, I have to see a change in rivets, I have to see some new hardware. Because when I go up to a firescape, I see nothing but original hardware. That hardware is 50 to 75 years old. It's been out in the weather 50 to 75 years, and it's just impossible for not one of those rivets, one of those bolts to be changed in 50 to 75 years. And whenever that occurs, what I have is a firescape that somebody's been constantly painting, but they've never done anything structurally to it. So now that makes the entire firescape pretty much suspect. So now I have to be careful as to what I'm looking at to make sure that the structural now, on especially the major structural connections, are in good order. Thank you for watching our video. Please call us today at 800-649-3333 to discuss your firescape issue with a live inspector or schedule an inspection in your area today. Firescape Engineers Inspector Summary Video. Inspector Manessas here. We're here in White Plains, New York, and this is the 7th firescape of 7 total around this building. This firescape is very much like the very first one, so I'll be brief in this one because it refers back to what we've seen on all the other firescapes. We have, first of all, life safety issues in all the firescapes, including this one, in that the front flat is no longer supporting that railing in the front, and that flat working together is a truss that basically allows the support structure to be holding each platform, which is then only tied back into the building, 8 to 12 inches. Everything must work together in order to support the staircases and such. This firescape has no evidence of any bolts, no changed bolts anywhere. This firescape is 50 to 75 years old, and it has not had any evidence of maintenance. Very severely corroded, very severely rusted. A lot of the joints in the corners are gone. So all the bolts are square heads or rivets. This firescape has not seen any maintenance in 50 to 75 years at least. And no new hardware to be found anywhere. Ladder drops to the ground. You got to do a little bit of trimming over there because you got to be able to get out of there and come down to a public way. So we need to create a path of some sort. There's pipes, there's drainage, there's all kinds of things happening here that need to be addressed as to when you come down off that ladder, where do you go? Needs a full paint job, licensed renovator required, permits required in order to perform any work. A lot of cement issues are more evident on the other firescape than this one, but this cement, if the water isn't coming in from the sills, the water is coming in from cracks above the T-bars and the C-channels that are tying into the building. So you see evidence. You got a lot of rusty tiers coming down on the walls. Rails are missing on the inside, protective, so you don't fall down the stairs. The only railing there is really up on the roof one, but we need railings all the way down so that nobody falls. 100% rebolting of all the treads, 100% rebolting of all the structural, 100%. This firescape has treads that are all riveted, never change of any bolts, but heavily corroded from above. And like firescapes number 1 through 6, this firescape will not take a load in the current condition that it's in. The requirement is 100 pounds per square foot, and due to the fact that all the rivets and the bolts have either popped or are severely corroded, this firescape has life safety issues. Any questions, Firescape Engineers, Inspector Manessas, 800-649-3333, 800-649-3333.
The smoke, the flames, and the frightened faces, all in a firefighter's line of duty. But Chief William Hitchcock remembers the night it wasn't the fire that almost stopped him,
Oh, I was scared to death.
but the fire escape that broke underneath him.
Where the railing just came away from the building.
And our investigation found across Massachusetts more unsafe fire escapes, rusty, deteriorating, crumbling, broken. And what state officials didn't know, the system they set up to keep fire escapes safe is also falling apart.
The potential ramifications are disastrous.
So let's look at this one. This expert ironworker is licensed to build, maintain, and inspect fire escapes.
So then over here,
For months, we examined dozens of them with alarming results.
looking at this today, would this pass inspection?
No.
In dormitories, at theaters, at homes, and apartment buildings.
Rust is actually eating away the metal of the
Correct.
fire escape.
Correct.
And the bottom line?
It'll get weak and then eventually it'll fall.
This one has rotted connections. This one missing bolts, twisted metal.
Would the stairs come down?
No, never come down.
This one a broken tread.
So how dangerous is it for the people inside this building?
This fire escape is definitely going to put somebody either in the hospital or it's going to put somebody in a cemetery.
Fire escapes are so critical. The state building code requires they be certified for structural adequacy and safety every 5 years. But our investigation found that safeguard is simply being ignored. Here's proof. We chose fire escapes at random in Boston, Somerville, Cambridge, Worcester, and here in Quincy. We checked building department files
But there's no fire escape certification.
Not in this file.
to see if building owners had submitted their mandatory inspection reports.
There's no certification in this one either.
Right.
Bottom line, not one we checked in Quincy had been certified as safe. And the director of inspectional services admitted because of staffing shortages, the city has no idea how many other fire escape owners are breaking the rules.
And as a result, do you know how many fire escapes in your city are safe or not?
Well, I don't know.
In Worcester, not one we checked was certified. In Somerville,
No.
4 more fire escapes,
Did it fall through the cracks? Yeah.
not one up-to-date certification. And again, no system for keeping track.
How can they get away with that?
I guess that the shortest answer of all is because we don't have the resources to sit here and follow up on these things.
If structural deficiencies are reported, local building inspectors can actually evacuate residents until repairs are made.
Would you talk to us on camera about this? No?
But when we surveyed 24 more communities, most admitted they had no idea how many fire escapes were certified. In Taunton, inspectors told us they haven't seen a certification in 25 years. Northampton officials said it's a cold day in hell when that happens. In Cambridge, too, not one of our test buildings was certified, and the official in charge would not come out to discuss it. In Boston, where there are more than 8,000 fire escapes, again, according to inspectional services, not one we checked was certified. Officials know they are required to enforce the building code, but they admit they don't always know if owners are breaking the law.
The building code is being ignored.
Right, but it's difficult to write a violation when you don't have knowledge of something like that.
But state officials say for a critical issue like this, communities should know. And they warn the Massachusetts building code is not optional.
Does it worry you that these fire escapes are not being certified?
This is an important issue and should not be ignored.
That's because after the smoke and flames begin, it'll be too late to learn you've got no way out.
I can't stress it enough, Hank, that these things have to be maintained and someone's got to be watching.
As a result of our investigation, state officials will now issue an alert to local inspectors. Meanwhile, if there's a fire escape on your home or office, you can contact your local building department to make sure it's properly certified. In the newsroom, I'm Hank Philippi Ryan.